Welcome to South Cobb Live. The stories of local entrepreneurs come to life, and I am your host, Emos, your community host. Today we are diving into the world of local food and restaurant and family fun, community and support. We have a co-owner of the beloved Varner's restaurant and Tavern right in Smyrna, Georgia. I have Nick Hanratty with me. Welcome to the conversation.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
No, thanks you for saying yes to this opportunity. This episode has been brought to you by Funnelista, where we help you turn a 15-minute conversation into 15 days of content. So Varner's restaurant and tavern is more than just a spot to go eat locally when you're hungry. It is a family-owned gym right in Smyrna, and it really helps bring people together. The food is the obvious reason to show up. However, the service, the sense of camaraderie with all the events, and I can attest to it because I've experienced it firsthand, just really is what makes the journey of this restaurant so special. And so, Nick, can you tell us how Varner's restaurant came to be?
Absolutely. So my old boss and my current business partners had been working together at other restaurants in the Atlanta area for decades. I started working for them in 2003 in a part-time capacity, eventually became full-time in 2006. And that's the same year that they bought this property here in Smyrna. Um, Fast forward a few years, they opened up in 2007, had a little trouble with the crash of '08,
Oh,
and
yeah.
definitely really struggled to survive for a few years. I transferred over here in 2011 to become the general manager because I had worked my way up at our Sandy Springs location. Um,
Okay.
and I came over here. They wanted to kind of change things a little bit in the management side. I don't know, I think I pride myself on personal relationships, and that kind of translates into my management style. And that was something I think that I wouldn't say they were missing it, but they kind of had their management really came out of the kitchen when they
Mm-hmm.
opened this place up, and they didn't have a front of the house person like me to really
Gotcha.
be the face of this place. And so that's kind of what I brought to the table at that point. But Smyrna, we kind of got lucky, I think,
Mm-hmm.
in finding this place because my old boss got a really good deal on this location, and it was a little ahead of the time because Smyrna had to go through a few more years, and we never could have anticipated the Braves moving here and everything that's
Right.
happened. So in a lot of ways, it was serendipitous, and we're very lucky to have survived those early years and made it to this point, and then to have the Eagles fan club become what it's become, and to have all these relationships where we're 17 years old now, so we're on our second generation of customer.
Oh,
we're
wow.
feeding the kids we're feeding the kids of kids who came in here when we opened at this point. So I've literally had former employees who opened this place up when they were 19, 20 years old, and they're bringing their kids in here now. And it's just a really cool thing because it's all of our locations have managed to become that in their neighborhood. Just have these families coming in here and bringing their kids in here, those kids growing up and coming in here and bringing their kids in here. I
It's
mean,
generational.
you got to survive a long time to even have that happen. So that's a
Right.
beautiful thing, and you can't do it without that commitment to being part of the community and having service be so important and just building those relationships. You got people in here 6 7 days a week. You don't get that if you're not trying to keep those relationships going. So but that, I mean, that's how it came to be. And
Wow.
everything that's happening in this part of Cobb County at this point is just icing on the cake because it just gives us so much more to strive for and work for as this neighborhood changes, and all these 60 and 50 and 60-year old houses are tripling and quadrupling in value, or
Mm-hmm.
getting replaced, and all this stuff that's happening in this part of the city. um, it's been a real blessing for our company. So very happy for all of it.
That is fantastic. I just really adore the story and the journey. And you kind of hit on a lot of things because the restaurant industry is very hard. I mean, most restaurants fail a lot if you do the math within a few years of business. It's really hard to have appropriate recognition as a manager of how much food to buy, and menus and all the things. So I applaud Varner so much for that. And you mentioned two things that I want to dive into. So you mentioned there was a few different locations. So which number location is the Smyrna Delphia
Um,
Varner's location? Yeah.
so we are the newest. We are the
Okay.
most recent. We haven't opened up another location since 2007. So we're the youngest of the three.
Okay.
And our other locations, North River Tavern in Sandy Springs, they're 20, almost 26 years old. And then Suburban Tap in East Cobb is over, I think they're 30 years old. Excuse me. So those, my original bosses that I worked for,
Yeah.
they came out of the Taco Mac. They were Taco Mac licensees at the other two locations. And so when Taco Mac went corporate in the early 2000s, all their licensees and franchisees were given the option of going corporate or going independent. And we, of course, chose the independent route.
Okay.
But this Varner's was the first location that they opened up as not a Taco Mac. So
Wow.
this really, this was a concept born of those other restaurants, and
Right.
as far as its inspiration, but to have its own identity and not be like an offshoot of that, that major corporation that we all know right now. So um but yeah, that's it. I mean, that is we're the baby. We're almost old
The
enough
baby,
to yeah,
the
we're almost
diamond
old
in
enough
the
to vote.
rough.
So
I love it. So you transitioned from an employee to a part owner. So can you share a little bit about that journey for yourself?
um so I will turn off my humility for a minute. I'm a very hard worker. I always have a good attitude. I always try to bring my A game every single day, and I try to work harder than anyone else that works with or for me so that they're inspired to hopefully do the same. And in this business, in the restaurant business, you usually have people who maybe fell back into this business and it's not their first thing, it's not their dream,
Yeah.
or it's the only thing they can get, or they've got some kind of debilitating character flaw slash problem. And I've managed to avoid all of those pitfalls. And I mean, I just, you know, I was very valuable to them, and they offered me a piece of the company. I never even asked for it. So um,
Wow.
that's I just earned it. I mean, that's the story.
That is a great story. And congratulations. That's or kudos to you for that. I mean, hard work pays off and you speak to that. So I think more people need to see that or hear those stories of hard work, doing your day to day really, really hard and exceeding. One of my friends, her favorite quote she taught me years ago, actually, right around the time y'all opened. It was about 2008. So y'all were still y'all were like an infant. Maybe Barnes is like an infant. But the quote that she shared with me is what her dad taught her, which is it's not hard being successful in a world full of average. And I love that quote a lot. But it speaks to work ethic for me. And when I'm tired or if I'm just trying to make it through the day, I think about that quote and you just made me think about it when you were sharing kind of how you worked your story and how you worked your way up. So kudos to you.
Well, thank you. I mean, like I said, I will turn my humility back on, but I mean, it's I always tell my employees, the cream rises to the top. Like if you work hard enough, the people who you work for, if they're not completely clueless, they're going to reward the people who deserve it. In a major corporation that's 10,000
Right.
employees, it might be a little
It's
harder, but
different, very
in a
much.
family-owned operation where every single person matters, like you know, there are people that are undeniable, and there's people that I'll go to war for because they bring their A game every day and they take care of our customers, and they don't bring their personal problems to work. And if they are having a bad day, they'll pull me aside before a customer ever sees them and let me know so that I can either help them with that or take them out of the game for the day if I need to. But put the put the guest first because they realize how important that relationship is for not just for the business but for themselves too. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean that's invaluable.
it is. It is. It actually brings me to another question I'm very interested in understanding about Varners and the experience model that you provide. I've probably had some of my best memories as an Eagles fan, wearing the shirt myself, right? No, as an Eagles fan, my best memories of inspiration and happiness, and just seeing the employees at the Varner's location day in and day out, being there, following up, being of service, and creating an experience where people want to stay for hours on end. And that doesn't happen easily, especially at a restaurant. And I just want to know, can you share any kind of success stories or personal moments that really stand out from the time that you've been at Varner's?
Oh, for sure. So when I came here in 2011, I had a decent amount of experience from the other store. I'd been there 8.5 years. So I definitely had some ideas walking in the door, but I also knew that I didn't know this place and I didn't have any history here, and it was going to take, time to figure out what moves needed to be made and what we could do to have things grow. And I told the staff at our first meeting, I said, I'm not going to walk in here and change a bunch of things without knowing what I'm doing or having conversations with you guys and seeing, what ideas you might have and stuff like that. Um, I want to kind of revamp this place, but I don't want to do it alone, and I want to, have as much input as I can walking in the door.
Mm.
So what I did is, I had a little trial and error for a few years, and like I said, it really took. We had to get through '08 and '09, which was pretty lean and nothing worked.
Yeah.
And eventually we started turning it around and having a little bit of a success. But I think really it just came down to kind of creating some stability in the team and, just you get kind of like a bunker mentality when things aren't going well in a business. You get to the point where your employees can kind of hold you hostage because you're afraid to lose them because they're the best you have, and maybe they're
Yeah.
not. Maybe you could do better, but you're scared of losing them because they're the best you have. And sometimes someone new has to come in and use new eyes to see things, and give people the opportunity to maybe get better, maybe elevate their game to another level, or maybe find something new. And so there was a little bit of that for sure. um, but it, when it comes down to it, like there has to be like a heart and soul to a place,
Mm-hmm.
and that doesn't happen by accident. um, you have to kind of create that, and you have to make people want to be here. That's staff, that's guests as well. People have to choose to come here, they have to choose this place over all the other options. And so you have to provide something, and it's pretty intangible, I think, because a lot of places have good food, a lot of places have decent service. I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of places make up for it with advertising and marketing and all that, but you can't replace a feeling. You can't replace that. So when you give that to somebody, whether it's a sports memory or a birthday or a family event, or it could be even a celebration of life. I mean, there's a lot of different, you know, possibilities in all of that, and
Yeah.
you got to take advantage of it in this business. You really have to, like, get down there, shake hands, kiss babies. If maybe not, you know, maybe you got to get to know them a little better. But
Yeah, yeah, but I get it. I totally get it. So
if you don't have that,
yeah,
you don't you don't have what it's going to take to survive. And the problem is, you can't just build a building and hire a staff and get the menu and get all the stuff in the building and then just let it go. It's not going to work. There has to be something driving it. And really, honestly, I look at leadership and management. I don't look at it as driving. I look at it as like pulling. It's like I'm towing, like, a 10,000 pound wagon by myself if necessary,
wow.
and I'm pulling everyone here to go into the direction of actual success. Um,
Yeah.
and the guests see you. I mean, I have a hard time going out because it's so hard for me to turn off that manager eyeball and not see the little things that they're doing wrong, and it makes it hard to enjoy places sometimes. So if I go out to a really good place and things are going well, I really do appreciate it because
Yeah.
I can literally turn it off because my instincts aren't just firing off. So I think about that, and I think about people who run a place or even a different business that's not even in this business. Like you know what you want when you go somewhere. You have your expectations. Obviously, you don't want to pay for food and drinks that aren't good, and you don't want
Mm-hmm.
bad service. That's obvious. But like you turn out of your driveway at your house, and if you haven't already decided to come here, something's got to bring you here, and it's not going to be a commercial, and it's not going to be any of that. You've got
Yeah.
you know what you want. You know what you want. So getting into people's heads, having kids bug their parents to come here for kids eat free on Fridays. I have so many parents who are like, we can't go anywhere else, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. You
That's
know.
amazing.
So I mean, but that's all been manufactured.
Yeah.
That's all been, you know, an effort, a labor of love for all that to occur.
That is significant in so many ways. I'm so happy you shared the experience because what you talk to is what a lot of businesses sometimes fall short of, and it's the long game, but it's the experience, how people feel when they show up. You can have several events on a calendar, like you said, and no one shows up, but we're going to show up to Varner's, and I'm always excited because I know I'm going to see a familiar face no matter what event I'm going to do, if it's karaoke those are my favorite, karaoke and the Eagles, the Smyrna Delphia Sundays during the football season. But I'm curious to understand from your perspective, you all have a lot of events and connections. Like you said, Kids Eat Free Fridays, there's trivia night, you got deals and burgers and wings specials. I'm just excited every time I see all the connections that you all have. Which one is like your milestone or like standout event that, are staples for your business?
Wow. Well, we do so much, and I think that um, when it comes to events, when it comes to our menu, when it comes
Yeah.
to the calendar, like we really do a lot, and it's hard to maybe pinpoint. I think that's kind of part of our magic is that we appeal to so many different kinds of people.
Yes.
I mean, you've got the families in the dining room, you've got the kind of scary kind of pool player guys that come in at late, close this place
Thanks.
down every night,
Thanks.
but they're great. They come in here, they don't cause any trouble. They they
Right.
they keep they make my people feel safe at night. So it's like it takes all those kinds and everyone in between. We've got the like kind of like the elderly lunch crowd that comes in, for our $8 lunch menu,
It's
because
fascinating. Yeah.
they're on a fixed income, or we've really tried over the years to find that corporate lunch business because there's just nothing really around here super close. It's a lot of
Yeah.
small businesses around here. Probably the closest large stuff is maybe like Home Depot corporate over on Paces Ferry and stuff like that. So,
You're right.
but there's been a lot more larger companies entering the area with the battery opening up and everything. So we've really just been, that's the one group of people that I have really tried to add to the mix lately
Yeah.
because it's like we've got, like I said, we're on our second generation of local. We're plugged into the Smyrna Business Association. We're plugged into the Gary Hill Network. So I've really tried to have as many possible avenues of relationship in the local area as I can, and that's why I'm so happy to jump onto this too, because you know it's something new, and that's one thing that my business partners always kind of make fun of me, but also praise me for is that I'm
Yeah.
willing to try new things, and I'm willing to fall flat on my face because I mean at the end of the day, I mean in my head I will die for this, and what's
Wow.
not worth trying if it has a chance of making things better or bringing one new family into here that's going to be here twice a month for the rest of their kids' lives. I mean that's a huge opportunity, and you always want to try to find that no matter what you can do. But I mean, to answer your question, I don't know if I can pick one thing. I really don't. We sell a lot of wings.
I eat a
I
lot of
mean,
y'all wings. I'm
a
not even
lot of
gonna
wings.
lie. Huh?
I mean, when I break down my numbers, I've got my bottle beer, draft beer, liquor.
Right.
I've got my wine, and I've got my food. And oh yeah, we're just gonna split wings off completely and count that separately because
Wow.
that's how many wings we sell. So we don't even include wings with our other food when we're looking at our sales because
Wonderful.
that's how
Wow.
many we sell. So maybe if I pointed to that, I would say that the one thing that we get a lot of credit for our burgers and other food too, but like, when I say, if someone was like, what do I need to get? And I was like, you're going to think I'm crazy, but you need to get our wings. If it's the one thing you have here, I guarantee you that'll be the thing that brings you back. So,
It's probably the one thing that I've had the most consistently. The lemon pepper wings for me. Everybody's got their thing, but for sure, the lemon pepper wings at Varner's are top
yeah.
tier. Oh, so before we wrap, I definitely want to ask a question. I love what you all do to give back to the communities in the small areas of Varner events that I've been able to attend. So I'm gonna tap on because I'm wearing my shirt. Philadelphia Eagles, they are the world champs for this year. Um, I love that you have a raffle during halftime. It's part of that experience model, and its focus is to give back to the community and the local football league that's right in our neighborhood.
Mhm.
And I just think that that is so impactful and incredible. What other initiatives that you does Varners do like that, or is that the only one? And then also, how's that been impactful in the community?
Well, I don't want to steal Smyrnadelphia's thunder when it comes to the Milford Youth relationship because they are 100% responsible for maintaining that. But we're happy
Okay.
to help. We're happy to help with that, and the amount of success that they've had is incredible. We're happy to be part of it. Um, but we also, I mean, I do. There's a couple of little local things we always kind of participate in. The Keep Smyrna Beautiful campaign. We help them out every year with one of their events.
Wow. Yeah.
We help the Fraternal Order of Police. They do a lot of events for kids, back to school events and like Christmas events. We always help them with that. I do a lot of. There's so many sports teams around here and so many schools. It's hard to sponsor like individual sports teams, but I do
Right.
try to help all the different PTAs out because I feel like that gives me a chance to kind of affect parents, teachers, students. So I
Mm-hmm.
do try to participate in that with each of the local schools. Um, but yeah, I mean, honestly, people walk in here all the time, and you can't always help everyone out. But one of the things we do a lot of is that people ask if they can use our space for something. They're going to have a fundraiser, or they're going to do this or that, and we don't like charging for space. We've got such a big building. That's one way that we can help people out. Is if they want a space to have a meeting, so they're planning a fundraiser or some other event, even if it's somewhere else. They'll have their meeting here. They'll have their board meetings here. A lot of the PTAs will have their after meetings here with their officers and stuff like that. So,
Wow, that's
really,
great to know. Yeah.
and we're never going to charge for the space. We have so much space during the week, during the day, especially non-football.
Yeah.
For about 4 or 5 hours on Sunday, we've got no space. About 17 or 20 weeks a year, but the rest of the time, we can definitely help out with that. But yeah, I mean, that's a little unspecific, but I mean,
Yeah.
that's probably the easiest thing to throw out there. That's kind of like open for newcomers on.
Wonderful. Well, I just absolutely adored spending some time with you, Nick. This has been great. You educated me on a lot of what Smyrna, Delphia, aka Varner's restaurant and tavern has to offer. And I'm just excited to continue my just personal attendance as a local who just loves to support the businesses around me, and y'all are doing excellent in the community. I have one rapid fire question for you. So we do a word association game every episode, and
Okay.
really it's called the South Cobb Spotlight Sprint. And we just want to ask a word, and you just say the first thing that comes to mind. And I have one that I want to ask you for the purposes of this, based on what you shared. So I'm going to ask the one word, and you just have to say the first thing, thought, or statement that comes to mind. You ready?
Mhm.
Family.
Hmm. Everything.
You just did it. Thank you so much. And you're right. Family is everything. And that is the environment that I always feel every time I walk into the Smyrna doors. And that's the environment that I believe your other customers feel when they walk in as well, when you talked about your experience. So it has been so awesome learning about Varner's Restaurant and Tavern, serving amazing food. Where could the people or listeners support Varner's Tavern as far as engaging with you on social media?
Um, well, Varner's is on all the social medias, the Facebooks, the Instagrams, and all that. So you can definitely check us out there. Our website's got links to our food, our events, everything is up there as well. You can also just email me, Nick at varnerstavern.com. You can talk to me directly. I'm not that closed off that you can't reach me, especially if you come in here. I want to hear when you're having a good time. I want to hear when we can do better. So you have access to the man. So don't waste it. Come on in. I want to
You
take care of
heard
your
it.
family.
You heard it first. Access to the man Nick. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. And if you all like what you heard, check us out at South Cobb Live on Instagram, Facebook, and South Cobb Media on Instagram.